Hi, this is Hunter with You Don't Know Ball. Today we're going to be looking at another mock draft from CBS. This is by Chris Trapasso. I have not looked at this mock draft yet, so I'm going to be going into it blind. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. We're bringing you guys daily content. Leave a like. Let us know in the comments what your favorite pick from this mock draft is, and we'll get right into it. So, first off, there is a trade here for Justin Fields. So the Raiders get Justin Fields, a 2025 sixth-round pick. The Bears get the third-round pick this year, a 2025 third-round pick that becomes a second-round pick if Fields plays 75% of the snaps, and then it becomes a first-round pick if the Raiders make the playoffs. I am really okay with this. I like this compensation. I honestly would really like a second instead of a third in 2024. But the idea that the 2025 third round pick could become a first round pick, I think that is a big incentive to move him. Cliff Kingsbury is now the OC in Las Vegas. I think it could work there. I will say, though, like I said, I would want a second here, but overall, that is a fair pick. So let's get right into it. Round one. So first off, we have Caleb Williams to the Bears. Now, I'm a Bears fan. I would love this. I think there's really not much to talk about. He is definitely, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the class. No doubt about it. And it's kind of like a no-brainer pick. You could argue you can keep Fields, trade the pick for a haul, blah, blah, blah. But my thing is, it's a quarterback-driven league, and you've seen what has happened to these teams who have passed on great quarterbacks. The Bears saw it with Trubisky instead of taking Pat Mahomes. So not much to talk about here. Next, we're going to go to number 2. Washington is taking Drake May. So I don't have an issue with Drake May here, and I think this is where he's going to end up going. Some people will put Jaden Daniels here, but if you look at the comparison between the two athletes, Jaden Daniels was in his 5th year and really didn't pop off until his 5th year. Drake May didn't play his first year really, played 2 years, had 2 really good years, and I think Jaden Daniels is 23, Drake May's 21. I just don't think there's really much of a discussion here. I think Drake May is definitely the number 2 pick. I mean, I don't want to rule out Jane Daniels going here, but in my opinion, I think it's going to be Drake May. The only thing that is tough is the Washington Commanders just hired Dan Quinn, who's a defensive guy, as their head coach. And as their OC, they're looking to bring in like Chip Kelly. I know there's a possibility it's not him, but at the end of the day, with a youth movement going on in the NFL and a young GM bringing in these 2 older guys to coach a young quarterback, I don't know if that's the best move. I know Dan Quinn is kind of known as a culture guy and will be good I think he will be good for the Washington Commanders, but I think they're in a really tough spot in terms of getting an offensive coordinator because I think they played like the long game trying to get Ben Johnson. And I know a report came out that Ben Johnson didn't really do well in his interview with them, but I don't know. I just think it would have been a better option for a young quarterback like Drake May. Going number 3. Okay, so now we get Jaden Daniels off the board. I don't have an issue with Jaden Daniels going to the Patriots, but I don't know if it's the best situation for him. They just hired a offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, who has never, in my opinion, not in my opinion, I don't think he's ever called plays in the NFL. And Jerron Mayo's a defensive guy. I just don't know if they have the pieces on offense to really support Jane Daniels right now. And my thing is, I would almost rather trade back, collect assets, build up your O-line, build up your receiving core, and then drop a rookie quarterback in next year, try to get a vet or something like that, maybe trade for Justin Fields. And I know it's not, it's not going to happen in this case because the Raiders got him. But I just think if you drop Jane Daniels into that offense right now, I don't know how well he's going to develop. And I think they may be kind of a year away from putting that quarterback in that system. But, the quarterback class next year is not nearly as strong. So at the end of the day, you need your quarterback to win in this league, and the Patriots get Jane Daniels at 3. At 4, we have Marvin Harrison Jr., the best prospect in the draft, kind of the prospect that a lot of people view that he really can't be a bust. And I would probably agree with that. I think pairing him with Kyler Murray makes a lot of sense. The only way you don't go Marvin Harrison Jr. here is if you want to trade back and get a shit ton of assets, because people will trade up for Marvin Harrison. You probably won't get as much as if you were trading up for a QB, but unless doubt it, but Bo Nix or like Penix going here, that would be the only other QB that I could think of. But I just don't think there's a point of really trading out of this pick. Get the best receiver in the draft, pair him with Kyler Murray. If you want to move on from Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison is young. You'll have him for a long time. You'll have him for 5 years on that rookie deal. Good pick. Next, we're going to go to pick number 5, which is the Los Angeles Chargers taking Byron Murphy. So I don't hate this pick. The Chargers definitely need help on the D-line. They definitely need help on the O-line, but I think they could have went tackle here to pair him with Rashawn Slater. It is an offensive league, and I don't know, man. I think pairing him with pairing like a Joe Alt, Olu Fashanu, J.C. Latham with Rashawn Slater could be very, very good for the next 10, 15 years of your franchise to protect Justin Herbert. Byron Murphy has a ridiculous pass rush win rate, which is like 19.6, which is like unheard of for an interior defensive lineman. It's very interesting to me, though, that an interior defensive lineman goes before an edge in this mock draft. Don't think it's a bad idea. Here, I could also have seen like Brock Bowers here, offensive weapon, because the Chargers are just kind of weird in that offensive weapon. They're really high over the cap next year. They're going to have to make some cuts, so I don't know what that receiving room is going to look like. Number 6, we're going to go to the New York Giants. We have Malik Neighbors. Not much to say about this pick. He is the number 2 receiver on the board here. I could also see, like I said, Brock Bowers if you want to play him in the slot, but I think Malik Neighbors is kind of the better option for them, just the way that they're built. They need somebody on the outside because they just really don't have anybody. So yeah, I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson, but he's not as big. I mean, Malik Neighbors isn't like a huge guy, but Malik Neighbors on the outside is the right move here for the Giants. I don't really see you go anywhere else. You could argue tackle, but they've already used 2 high picks on tackles, Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal. Even though Evan Neal really hasn't panned out, you're hoping he can take that step back. Number 7, we're going to go Olu Fashanu to the Tennessee Titans. I love pairing him with Peter Skoronski. Any offensive tackle here, Joe Alt, J.C. Latham, Olu, Talisa, Fuaga even. But, you know, you pair him with Peter Skoronski, you're protecting your rookie, not your second-year quarterback, Will Levis. You have Treylon Burks. You have DeAndre Hopkins for 1 more year. You have Chig as your tight end. Not much to say here other than you could pick a different O-line, offensive tackle here, but at the end of the day, you need to build those trenches because Andre Dillard is just not it. Number 8, we have Laiatu Latu to the Falcons. I think this is the right pick here. If you're not getting a quarterback, you could also go corner, but I think, you know, getting Raheem Morris, you really want a defensive player here, regardless if it's corner, edge, whatever it is, not linebacker, obviously. I don't think there's any linebacker worth taking this high, but you take Latu as an edge, you put him on that line. They're already improved last year defensively. The offensive side of the ball doesn't need that much help. Giving Raheem Morris a weapon to work with in year 1 is going to be really good for the Atlanta Falcons going forward. Pick 9, we have Dallas Turner to the Chicago Bears. I like this pick, but I would have been okay with going Alt here. I would have been okay with going Brock Bowers here. I would have been okay with going Rome Odunze here. Honestly, it would have been Brock, Alt, Odunze would be like my list. I'm okay with an edge. Pair him up with Montez Sweat. Give Eberflus another weapon. I just think the offensive side of the ball needs a lot more work. And also, like, you can buy. There's plenty of like good edges in free agency, and you could. Chicago has the cap space to spend. Once they cut Cody Whitehair and Eddie Jackson, they'll have about $70 million to spend. So they can do that in free agency. I think it's better just to get an offensive piece for that rookie quarterback in this situation, Caleb Williams. The thing I like about Dallas Turner though is he's my edge 2 right now. I think Latu is my edge 1. Is when he gets by a defender and you see him grab on, he's like sticky is the best way I can describe it. Like he's like the defender is, or the ball carrier is not like getting out of that. Like he's not shaking out. Like when he grabs his arm around, like there's no movement. So I do like Dallas Turner here. All right, pick number 10 to the New York Jets. Okay, Brock Bowers. I love Brock Bowers, and I think he can go high as like 5 in the end in the draft. But to the Jets, to me, just I don't know. It says the Jets go best player available, and it happens to be a versatile weapon for Aaron Rodgers. But like, dude, with Alt sitting on the board here, you have to take him. You have to take him. That offensive line was putrid last year, and it's like Dwayne Brown is older. I think he's still under contract. You have Elijah Vera Tucker, Mekhi Becton, and it's like I just think like Alt is like so not like such a lock to be like a good player, like such a high floor in the NFL. And like with Aaron Rodgers only being there for maybe like 1 or 2 more years, like you need to do everything you can to ensure that this man, this 40-year-old dude who just tore his Achilles is not running for his life. So I like Bowers, but I just think for the Jets, it is just a really bad pick. Number 11, we have Jerzon Newton to the Minnesota Vikings. Really cool to see, a guy from Illinois go this high in the draft. It was really cool to see Devon Witherspoon go to the Seahawks at 5 last year, I believe. Yeah. But my thing is like, I do like that the Vikings are investing in their D line because I believe Marcus Davenport was only on a 1-year deal, and then Daniil Hunter is going to be a free agent. It's kind of interesting to see that like interior D line. I know the narrative is kind of shifting to like having dominant interior D linemen is like more important than having like edges because you want to blow up the middle of the line. But yeah, no, I think this is a good pick for the Vikings. I also think they could have went cornerback here. Pick 12, we have Bo Nix. So to the Broncos. I don't hate this pick. I think there's a very real chance that Bo Nix goes first round in the NFL draft. I just think 12 is kind of high for him. Unless Sean Payton is like, okay, I know what I can do with Bo Nix. I know what he can be. Sean Payton really helped develop Drew Brees and everything like that. So if he sees something like that in Bo Nix, I get it. I understand why you take him 12. It's the quarterback tax. Sometimes they go a little bit ahead of where they should be because teams need quarterbacks to win in this league. Number 13, we have Terrion Arnold to the Las Vegas Raiders. In my opinion, Terrion Arnold is CB1 in this draft. Cooper DeJean is right there with him, but I think you get a sophomore corner from Alabama who is super, super, super athletic, super talented. He has a lot of time to grow. The Raiders need corner help. Great pick for them. And this is kind of, in my opinion, where you start to see corners off the board. I could have also seen him to the Broncos to pair him with Pat Surtain. Next, we're going to go Joe Alt to the Saints. Honestly, if Joe Alt is here for the Saints, they need to run in the card. Joe Alt to pair, honestly, like Pete is gone. Penning hasn't really turned out how you wanted him to. You need a guy that you know you can rely on. I've seen Olu mock to the Saints, and it's just like my thing is like I trust Alt a lot more. And it's like if Alt's available and you're a team that needs stability on the offensive line, it has to be Alt over Olu anytime. Every time. So Alt to the Saints is a great pick for them, and they should be very happy if he winds up at 14. Number 15, we're going to go Nate Wiggins to the Indianapolis Colts. Honestly, need secondary help. Nate Wiggins is a really good player. I think he fits well with what they're doing in Indianapolis. So I don't really have much to say about this pick. I mean, I think the corners, after we see them at the combine and kind of watch this Senior Bowl that's coming up today, actually, I think we're going to have a better idea on the CB rankings after the combine. But right now, there is probably like 4 or 5 corners that can go in the first. I mean, the corner class is very, very good this year. But yeah, no, it's a great pick for the Indianapolis Colts. Number 16, we have Cam Kitchens to the Seahawks. So I don't necessarily love the idea of a safety going this high. I think Kitchens is like a very, very talented player. And I think my thing is, I think I would have rather had the Seahawks address the D line, especially with like Mike McDonald being there. Like the Seahawks already have like a pretty talented secondary, and honestly, maybe this would put it over the top. But the issue we saw the secondary struggle last year was because the Seahawks pass rush just was not good. And like I think if you upgrade the pass rush, your secondary is going to look a lot better. So I like Cameron Kitchens, but I just don't like the pick for the Seahawks. 17, we have Romo Dunze to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Honestly, great pick. If Rome is there at pick 17, go get him. They're probably going to lose Calvin Ridley in free agency. I don't really see him coming back. Yes, they have Christian Kirk. Yes, they have Zay Jones, but Romo Dunze is a different kind of player for them. He's a big body athlete that can just go get the ball. And Trevor Lawrence needs more weapons, honestly. I love Darren Waller for them, but I think you need like a true alpha wide receiver one. I think Rome can be that for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pick 18, we have Brian Thomas Jr. to the Bengals. Honestly, great fucking pick. Big body receiver. I would have liked him going to the Jags too if Rome was off the board. If you're going to be losing Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins in free agency, then I think you need to put someone next to Jamar Chase. And I think Brian Thomas Jr. is the perfect player to do that. I believe he had, 14 touchdowns this year at LSU, 17 or 14. I think he had like 1,100 yards. The number 2 to Malik Neighbors. Honestly, very good pick for the Cincinnati Bengals, who are going to be looking to prove something after a slow start and then Joe Burrow going down this year and missing the playoffs. Number 19, we have a Talisa Fuaga. And I know it says Talisa, but when I was on Oregon State's website, it said Talisa. So maybe I'm wrong, but that is just what I saw. He's the offensive tackle from Oregon State. He is a really aggressive player. He's really good in the run game. I think my issue after watching like a little tape with Talisa is if there's a speedy edge, he's not going to get beat inside. Like very rarely will he get beat inside, but if there's a speedy edge and he gets the first step on him, sometimes he can get beat on the outside. He still has good recovery, but he is a very aggressive athlete, and I think it is a good pick for the Los Angeles Rams, who continue to build up that O-line. I think this is like their first pick in a long time. It's really weird to see them picking in the first round. At number 20, we have J.C. Latham. Okay, so I really like the Steelers going O-line here. And to pair him up with Broderick Jones, you're building up that offensive line for Kenny Pickett, whoever's going to be throwing the ball for the Steelers next year. And you get a big, big tackle. I really like J.C. Latham. He is like a bigger dude, but he's still like kind of very smooth in his movement. I really like J.C. Latham. I have him pretty high, like maybe like offensive tackle 3. I would almost take him ahead of Talisa Fuaga, depending on what you kind of want from your offensive line. But yeah, I would also like Amarius Mims here, or even like a Tyler Guyton. Not opposed to any one of those guys going to Pittsburgh. At 21, we have Patrick Paul to the Miami Dolphins. So he's 6'7", 315 pounds. They just signed Austin Jackson to an extension, and I believe they have Teron Armstead for a couple years. I know, I don't remember how long his contract is. I know he's getting older and he's been injury prone, but I don't necessarily know if like tackle was the way to go. Maybe you're looking as like a replacement for Teron Armstead, but maybe like this is where you reach for like a Jackson Powers Johnson, or like even like a Graham Barton movements, have him inside, or a Troy Fontenot movement side. I don't know. I haven't, honestly, just to be very transparent, I haven't watched a lot of Patrick Paul tape yet, so I still am kind of doing my research on him. But just from the guys that I have watched, I would feel a lot more confident with like an Amarius Mims, like someone like that. I know he doesn't have a ton of tape, but he is pretty good. Next, we're going to go number 22 to the Philadelphia Eagles, Coy McKinstry. I just think any cornerback here that's still on the board needs to go to Philly. Darius Slay is old. James Bradbury's old. Quinn McKinstry, a lot of people were mocking him as like cornerback one before the year started. And obviously he's fallen down boards a little bit, but I don't think if he falls out of the first round, I will be surprised. And if he does, and if he doesn't go within the top 10 picks of the second round, then I feel like there's something that went on here. Number 23 to the Houston Texans, we have Cooper DeJean. This is like such a fucking goofy pick, but I really like it. I think Cooper DeJean could very well be like CB1 or CB2 in this draft. Um, Seeing Cooper DeJean in a Texans jersey is just very funny. They definitely do need secondary help. I do like the pick a lot. But yeah, so I don't really know if there's much to say here. At 24, the Dallas Cowboys select Tyler Nubin. So the debate now is who is the safety one? Is it Tyler Nubin? Is it Cam Kitchens? I think I would almost like an interior player here, like an interior offensive lineman, just to kind of keep the youth in the offensive room, or even like a tackle, like a Tyler Guyton maybe, to replace who is their Tyron Smith, who's getting older. I think he's like 33 or something. Even if you give him a year to develop, I don't think that it's bad though. I think you beef up the secondary. I think it's a good option for Dallas here. I mean, people will argue that he's safety one, safety two, like definitely top two. At 25, we have the Packers going Kamari Lassiter. I definitely do think that the Packers need help in their secondary, and Kamari Lassiter is someone that you know is going to be at the spot that they're going to need to be at. Like, he's not like the best athlete, but he is a very smart player, and he knows where he's going to be on the field, and I think that's kind of what the Packers want out of their players. At 26, we have Jared Verse to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, staying in Florida. He was at Florida State. I need to do a little bit more tape on Jared Verse, but as like the third edge off the board, I don't hate it. I know like sometimes he'll be the first edge off in some of these mock drafts, so definitely need some help more on the defensive side. Jared Verse, not a bad pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Going to 27, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking Chop Robinson. So I don't have an issue with taking an edge here. I don't know if I'd take Chop Robinson. I don't know who else I'd take, but like Chop has, for my opinion, like fallen through a lot of draft boards that I've seen, and maybe he'll impress because Chop has a very quick first step, but I think he's still kind of raw and needs to be developed a lot. And I almost would like a offensive tackle, like I said, like a Tyler Guyton here, to pair up with a Paris Johnson Jr. And then you have your bookend tackles for the next 10, 15 years. You could take a Marius Mims. There's a lot of options here. I think you should go tackle here. I know the defensive line needs a lot of work, but my whole thing is Kyler Murray already tore his ACL. Protect him and go from there. Pick 28, we have Tez Walker to the Buffalo Bills. I'm not going to lie, I don't like this pick. I don't have an issue with wide receiver here. I just don't. After watching a lot of Tez Walker at the Senior Bowl practice and everything, like, he dropped the ball a lot. And I know there's more tape than that I haven't finished my like evaluations for like wide receivers, but I think he's good. I just don't know if I love him here at 28. To me, he strikes me more as like a second round guy, but I think wide receiver is the right pick. I mean, I honestly would have rather taken like a Keon Coleman or like a Troy Franklin. I think that would have been a better option for them. At 29, we have Quinyon Mitchell. So Quinyon Mitchell has been someone who played at Toledo, and he was in the MAC conference. So like a lot of people, I guess, put that as like an asterisk next to his name. No, he is the real deal. Watching him at the Senior Bowl practices this week and just seeing his stats at what he did at Toledo, when you watch him, he is like attached at the hip to these receivers. He is so like sticky. I can see him being taken above some of the other corners that already went in this draft. And the Lions definitely do need secondary help. This is a good pick for them. At number 30, we have Darius Robinson. He is a D lineman from Missouri. So I'm not going to lie, I don't know much about Darius Robinson. I know that Davion Clowney might be leaving Baltimore. I know Justin Matabike is going to be a free agent. possibly. So I know they need D-line help. So positionally, yes, I'm not going to speak on the player because I don't know a ton about him, but I think positionally is right. He is projected as the 138th prospect, and going in the first round is kind of crazy. So at 6'5", over 280 pounds, Robinson fits the classic Ravens outside pass rusher mold. So he's an edge who can also kick it inside. So, okay, so like almost like a DeMarcus Walker, they can move him around. At 31, we have Ladd McConkey to the Chiefs. Honestly, this is my favorite pick in the draft. Ladd McConkey is really good. I think people will kind of not like him for just the fact of like he's just such like a interesting player, and I think he will do really good on the Chiefs if they were to take him. Honestly, like I said, like I like Troy Franklin a lot too. I think Franklin would be good here. I think Keon Coleman would be good here, but I think wide receiver is the right option for the Chiefs here. Going number 32, we have Leonard Taylor to the San Francisco 49ers. I think this is a good pick. I don't think the 49ers off or defensive line has been as impressive as a lot of people think or thought it would be. So I think going interior D lineman here is a good option. And honestly, I think it would have been a better option at pick 30 to the Ravens. But this has been the CBS mock draft. Like I said, this was done by Chris Trapasso. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments what your favorite pick from this mock draft was. Be sure to subscribe if you don't know ball and want to know ball. Leave a like. We're growing the community every day, bringing you bigger and better content all the time. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.